But then...
But you have to feel like he just thinks like, yeah, I'm going to ask an Italian guy.
I had a guy...
We should just send him a certificate.
We should.
I had a guy I put together for like a pound of weed, like for a month. I knew he wanted the weed. And every time I'd see him, I go, I don't have it for you. But pretty soon he goes, I got the money at the house. Guys, even when I needed money to eat and snort blow, I wouldn't hit this guy up because I knew all I had to do was ask him and the 800 was going to be there for me. I put them together on weed that didn't exist. You understand me? Martians, green with red flowers. Yeah. And I'm like, it's draw. And he's like, come on, I can make money. 800. When am I going to get it? Because I had some weed other time. I told him it was 800. Dog, I went to this kid before I went to New York. I robbed this other guy for a Valium shipment. I told this other guy, give me 1,000 Valiums. I'll give you $300, and I'll be back in an hour. Pew! And on the way out of town...
These guys are handing it over before they get the money?
Oh, please.
All the time?
I was around... Listen, I'm the best. I could set anybody up because I would give you time.
Right.
Amateurs will call Lee and go, Lee, I'm in a bind. Give me $300. And Lee will call... Well, no, Joey. But if I call Lee and go, Lee, in about a week, I'm going to call you. I'm getting this coke. Did I ever tell you about the chink? Well, who's the chink? The chink. He's a Colombian dude. They call him the chink. He gives you cocaine in a fucking leaf. And he gives you an orange peel for you to suck on at the end of the night so you come down off the cocaine. And people go, what are you talking about? Listen, it's like $3,000 an ounce. He's going to give it to us for $2,200. All right? Give me about a week. And people would hang up on me. And then I torment them little by little. This is the best coke you've ever seen. And if you're an addict like I was, I know how to get into your head. And I would just set you up.
Slow game.
And I would slow game you. And eventually, and then now you'd want to give me the money. Yeah. Now you'd say to me, when are you going to give me the fucking blow? I'm sick of hearing.
Now they're bugging the fuck out of you.
The chink's coming to town next week. Have the 2,200 ready. Over. Boom. Lights out. But this poor kid in Boulder gave me 800 for a pound. Do you know, 5 years later, I'm at a girl's house in New York, and the phone rings, and she looks at me and she goes, it's rent for you. And she gives me the phone.
A house phone?
And I'm like, hello? And the guy's like, hey, what happened to my $800?
Like, we're smoking it right now.
But anyway, I had this kid. He had a Chinese restaurant across the street from Mustard's Last Stand. In Boulder, there's a hot dog place from Chicago Hot Dogs.
That's a great name.
With pickles in that motherfucker.
Mustard's Last Stand.
Last Stand.
Fucking great.
And across the street was a Chinese restaurant in those days that I put together for comedy, right?
Okay.
So I put them together for comedy. I had my friends do me a huge favor. I had this kid, Todd Jordan, and this kid, Rick Kearns. I made the bar guy give me a $100 tab, and I told him to give me $350 for the comedians. So I gave Todd Jordan $150. I gave the feature $100. I kept $100. So whatever that comes out to be. So I made a little money, but Ron sold $3,000 at the bar. He had never sold that much. Now I met Ron selling neon. I used to sell neon door to door.
What?
So I come in, give you a flyer with an open sign, and then how much you want for the open? In those days, open signs were just becoming popular. $200, I'll install it for you. $200, I give you
the little yes, we're open signs?
Yeah, and he goes, $200, I give you $150 in Chinese food, $50 credit. No, fuck that, Ron. I want $200 and $100 in credit, cocksucker.
Fucking Ron.
Okay, you install
Ron.
right. Okay, his name was Ron. You install right now. Do you know how long I milked Ron for? I had Ron paying my rent. I had Ron give me. Ron was a bad motherfucker.
For one sign?
Listen, one sign he paid me $200 for, and it cost him $10,000. In those days when I put my hooks in you, it was all over. It cost him $10,000. And then I did the comedy show, and I put money in his pocket. And if you know anything about Chinese people, once they do $3,000 at the bar, they lose their mind. He would call me every day. And I knew I had Ron. I go, Ron, listen, I got it. So I had Ron for like a year listen to this. I had Ron.
Ron still hasn't recovered.
Ron's still going through his books and like,
Ron would
there's
definitely
this whole area right here. It's all in fucking red.
I had Ron.
He would never be your Facebook friend.
I would call Ron. Hello, who's there? Ron, this is Joe Diaz. Ron, you gonna be there in 10 minutes? Yeah. What go on? What go on, Joe? Listen, I got a big deal going on. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I'm gonna tell you all about. We're gonna make a ton of money. No, you tell me. And I'd hang up on him. Which drove him crazy. Yeah. By the time I got to the restaurant, he'd be out there. Where you been? Tell me about big deal. And I go, listen, And I just make up a name. Like, listen, you know John Wayne? Yeah, I know John Wayne. Listen, he wants to come. I'm going to have him come in here and do comedy. But he needs a deposit. Give me $350 right now from the bar. Yeah, $350? Yeah, and I already got the guy waiting on the corner for an 8-ball.
Yeah.
And I got the chick I'm going to take to dinner with the other 100, and I got a hotel room for 50. And I'm not even wearing a condom. I'm crazy as fuck at that time.
And no one's gonna show up.
Dog, I would take him for $300-400. Finally, after like 6 months, one day he came to me and goes, when is, I don't know who, I was telling him Belushi was coming. Like, I was just dropping names. John Candy's coming. I'm going to get him. I did one. I did one. I did one. And I milked that poor Chinese guy. And then I had him on. I was so broke doing comedy. I ate 3 meals a day in there. I would go in there, Ron. Where's my tab?
You went in at like 11 when they opened for breakfast?
11:01. I was in there in the kitchen.
The big shrimp, Ron.
In the kitchen making my own soup.
Oh,
That's how
man.
pimp I had it in there. And he'd tell me, don't make your own soup no more. You take all shrimp. Fuck that shit. I would take the shrimp and the fucking wontons. And that's once I learned how to make Chinese soup. I didn't like it no more. See, I always thought they had the same fucking chicken broth for each thing. All they do is take the chicken broth, put it in, put 3 wontons in. They sprinkle it with pork and fucking onions, and they
Green
bring it to
onion,
you.
yeah.
If it's egg drop, it's egg drop. If it's the other one, they mix it together with the noodles and whatever. But it's all the same fucking Chinese mix.
Yeah.
I knew that shit down. I got to be so friendly with Ron that then I took over another Chinese restaurant. This was the I used to just take over
Now you
Chinese.
gotta change.
You're like, you're like the mob becoming like silent partners.
Listen to me.
You're bleeding them dry.
Oh my God, I was taking over Chinese restaurants.
got a roster.
Listen to me. Now Ron was in North. Ron was by the college.
What
in
was this
Boulder.
guy's name?
Is-
Eric?
This was that Ron was by the college, and after 6 months, one day Ron questioned me. He questioned my loyalty and where his $2,000. I give you $2,000. You eat here every day, and then no John Wayne, no John Candy, no Clint Eastwood. I had this poor guy sweating, and then I started bringing him stolen shit.
Eastwood's coming.
And then I would bring him stolen shit. Like if I would go to the mall and steal like 3 big pens, like the gold pens,
Yeah.
I'd bring it. Where you get this? No, listen, it fell off a truck. I knew the mafia. Then I had this other dude, an Italian guy, and I used to tell him I was La Mano Negra, that I was coming to collect on Friday. This guy believed me and went to Tony Ledizio and told Tony Ledizio if I shook him down again, he was going to call the cops on me. This is Boulder, Colorado. I was going crazy, and I was just out of prison. Then our big thing on Saturdays was we'd snort THC crystal, take a bus into the city.
The keef? You would snort the keef? Is that what
Listen, THC crystal is what you sold it to Bert as. On the street, it was fucking PCP.
I got you.
It was gorilla tranquilizers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
This is the shit that they would shoot.
That sounds
You ever see
kinda nice.
what was that show when we were kids? Omaha, whatever, about animals, wild animals, the Mutual of Omaha. And
Yeah,
then
I know what you're talking
when you
about.
see a
but-
leopard, they
Yeah,
shoot him
they
and he'd
shoot
go
him.
over. That's what we were snorting.
All right.
It was like animal tranquilizers. So take me, you, Rogan, Bert, Tom, 9 of us. We'd split 3 $10 bags. We'd buy $30 worth, and we'd each do a little line, and we'd jump on a bus on Saturdays, go to New York City, jump off on Times Square, and we'd go, all right, you, Bert, and Tom, see you later. We'll meet at 5 o'clock in Port Authority on 181st Street. So you got to see how to get there. And it's just a foggy world, man.
I'll bet.
We would walk like 20 blocks, then we'd jump on a train for 10, then we'd sit on a park bench for an hour and fuck when it was really hitting you. Like, we'd be in Harlem talking to black people, and the next thing you know, we had to get to fucking 181st. It was a fun time, and my mother had no control. I was doing great in school freshman year, and then I got initiated into the boys. The boys said, we want you to be part of one of us. So I would go to their parties.
So the little boys is like the Cub Scouts. And
Of
then,
the big boys.
And now they're pulling you up.
Right. But what it really meant was that the little boys, there was one particular one who I just spoke to last night, and he had an older brother. What that meant was that I got invited to those older parties. That's what that pass gave
What are
me.
these kids? 17, 18,
These
19?
kids are seniors in high school, and they're fucking lunatics. And I love them for them. I loved it for them. Like the first party I went to, they got garbage barrels. And they put garbage bags in them, and they just filled them up with different booze. No mixer, no margarita mix. It was like
Just straight
brandy,
vodka
gin.
over here.
They threw a shoe in there, and they got a bunch of bees. They got a bunch of dead bees and put them in the thing, and stand them up. And for you to walk in, they would give you a ladle with a glass, and you'd have a bee in the glass. And I remember I don't know how many times I picked up the shoe. There was like an old man's shoe in there. These guys were nuts. Great guys. No drugs, reefer, heavy metal music, the Stones, shit like that. I'll never forget the first party I went to. I woke up on a lawn. Like I just opened my eyes up and I was on Richie Sensulo's lawn.
Richie Sins. I love your
Right?
names. God
His
damn.
name is Richie Sensulo.
You're on his front lawn.
I'm on his front lawn. I'm looking around, and it's Ray Ernesto. Ray Ernesto was a cop who I liked, but I didn't like because he would always play basketball with us, and he would wear colored socks, and that was like a no-no in my hometown.
Yeah, what are you?
And he would
still a no-no.
he would pull them all the way up to his knee.
Ray,
He was a cop, and you know how many times
he even dressed athletically like a cop. You can see, he could tell a mile away.
Oh my
He's
God.
like,
Ray Ernesto was the sweetest man on the planet. He was a cop, and to keep himself in shape, he played with the 8th graders on Sunday. Legit guy, no pedo. He'd buy us all.
no pedophile.
No pedophile.